Welcome back to Don't Make Me Tap Again. I am your host, Angie Grant, and today I want to tap on something that I know is a common fear of many parents. It's something that I battled with throughout my entire parenting experience, and I'm not done with it yet. It's that fear that we're going to screw our kids up. I know that most parents that I interact with, that I coach, that sign up for my classes, that just friends that I talk to, family members, this fear that we get this beautiful, perfect little human that we say doesn't come with instructions, although I'd like to argue that a little bit now that I understand human design. I think that our kids do come with instructions to for us as parents to meet their energetic needs. But knowing that and putting it into practice and breaking our old patterns of the way that we think is they're two separate things, right? We can understand our kids' design, but showing up for them and parenting them based on their design, based on their energetic needs, and breaking our old parenting patterns, our old parenting paradigms at the same time is a tricky task. And it leaves us in this place as parents for many of us to continually question whether or not we're doing right by our kids, whether or not we're good enough for our kids. I know that from the moment my firstborn joined my world, I questioned everything, right? Am I, you know, not to get political, right? But like, do I give her this vaccine or that vaccine, or am I giving her the right nutrition to help her body grow, or have I enrolled her in the right school? Have I gotten her involved in enough social things? Those fears carried on. Now that I understand human design, it's so clear to me that there are some very specific fears that ruled my parenting experience, and they're part of my design. I didn't know it then. I know it now, and I'm starting to integrate and understand it now. But things like it is in my design, the fear of inadequacy. It's actually in there twice in two different gates. The potential on the shadow side to be stuck in that fear of inadequacy, of feeling like I'm never good enough or I don't know enough. That's that fear of ignorance. That's also part of my design. That fear that I don't know what I need to do for my own kids. Even though instinctually my gut was telling me all kinds of things that I should be doing for my kids, I didn't listen because this up here was trying to convince me that perhaps some expert outside of me knew better. I also have, as part of my design, the fear of the past repeating itself and perhaps old parenting paradigms that are so ingrained in me based on how I was parented, but also things that have been passed down from generation to generation. That fear of not being able to break the patterns that I knew needed to be broken. I also have fear of the future, like what will happen if I make this decision for my kiddos. So all of those fears are part of my unique lesson plan through human design, and that's okay. It means that in working through those fears, long before I knew about human design, it put me in a position to really understand better what my kids needed. It put me in a position, unless I got really stuck in the fear, right, which happens to all of us, but when I was able to take a step back and reflect, it put me in a position that fear really became a catalyst for me to do better, to change those patterns, to really explore what was right for my kids and my family. And ultimately, I think that many of those fears led me to human design. Many of those fears of feeling like with my son, for example, who joined our family at the age of 5 with his own conditioning, his own history. And I, despite all of the education, all the classes and certifications and degrees that I have that were perfectly aligned to help me be the best mom for him, I still question every moment, every interaction, whether or not I was good enough for him, whether or not I was capable of being a good mom for him. And I had so much evidence around me in our relationship that I wasn't, despite knowing that I was trying to do the very best in our relationship. It really took me taking a step back, getting outside of my head, and really getting in touch with with my decision-making strategy, that's what became the catalyst for me to show up differently for him. So we're here to tap, right? That's what you come here for. And I think that this concept of feeling like we're screwing our kids up is such a relevant thing to tap on. So I invite you, if this is part of your story, questioning whether or not you're good enough, questioning whether or not you're going to mess your kids up, questioning how you're going to break old patterns that you know are not part of the way you want to parent, or being afraid of the future, afraid how your decisions today are going to create humans in the future, right? So let's tap on this concept together and see what comes up. I encourage you before we go through this tapping sequence to really check in with yourself, to really reflect and ask yourself, if I were going to give myself a score about how afraid I am that I'm going to screw up my kids on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all afraid, and 10 being like, it's all consuming. It's so overwhelming that I'm going to make mistakes in my parenting path that won't be fixable. Give yourself a score. And then let's tap and check in with yourself when we're done. All right. So here we go. Even though I'm afraid that I'm totally going to screw up my kids, I don't even know if I'm cut out for this job. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm totally afraid that I'm going to screw up my kids, I don't even know if I'm cut out for this job. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm so afraid I'm going to screw up my kids, I don't even know if I'm cut out for this job. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Stop tapping. Take a deep breath. All right, let's tap on the top of the head. I'm going to screw up my kids. I'm going to screw up my kids. I don't even know what I'm doing here. They didn't come with instructions. I keep making mistakes. My kids' behaviors reflect on me as a parent. I'm screwing my kids up. I'm screwing my kids up. Stop tapping. Take another deep breath. How are you doing? How did it feel as we went through that tapping sequence? Did anything come up for you? Maybe a physical sensation in your body? Take note if you were yawning or you felt like you were going to burp. Maybe you had a bit of a knot in your stomach. Or sometimes we'll feel like a fiery pain between our shoulder blades. Some people will describe feeling like a fogginess in their head or pressure behind their eyes. I've had people describe tingliness coming down their hands. We all experience an energy shift differently. And for me, oftentimes when I'm hitting on things that are really relevant to me, I yawn. I yawn a lot. So notice what came up for you, because as your body was perhaps giving you clues by having these sensations, that should be a key indicator to you that you're onto something here. Even if you didn't think it was part of your story, even if you're like, no, I don't worry about that. I really don't worry about messing up my kids. If you had some physical responses to that, perhaps your body is holding a different story than your mind is. And that's okay. That's why we use EFT to tap out that negative energy, because when our body's holding on to that negative energy so tightly that we don't even know it's there anymore, it's probably showing up. It's probably manifesting in your body or in your results in some area of life. Maybe it's showing up in your career success. Maybe it's showing up in your money story. But when our body's holding on to things, our physical experience during tapping can give us really important cues about what's really going on inside of our story. So, did your score change at all? I know mine shifted a little bit. Here's what came up for me as I was thinking about this fear of screwing my kids up. And my kids are adults. My son is 19. He'll be 20 in just a couple of weeks here. My daughter's 24. And I have so many experiences as they were growing up, right? Like I genuinely think I'm a good mom and I tried my very best and I showed up for my kids. But as you'll hear through these tapping episodes that we have, I made mistakes too, right? We all do. But being able to tell ourselves, like, all parents make mistakes, sometimes still, we still have this deep-seated fear that our parenting style, our old stories that we bring with us, have a real impact on the way that they show up today. I know that sometimes that there are things that I see in my kids that even though they're adults and I know that they're responsible humans and they can make their own decisions now, I still see it as a reflection of how I parented them. I tended to not yell. I was a quiet, keep it all in, stuff down my own feelings kind of mom, which I know in my head can be so impactful in such a negative way for our kids. But at the time, I didn't know any better. And honestly, I thought I was doing the best that I could by not being a yeller. But I see that come out in my kids today in all kinds of different ways. So as I was going through the tapping sequence, that's what came up for me is even though I tried to keep my emotions from my kids, I think it influenced the way they show up in the world today. So we're going to tap on that together. Maybe something else came up for you, but we're going to follow this along and see where it goes. All right, here we go. Even though I worry that the way that I parented my kids shows up in the results that they have today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I worry that the way that I parented my kids has an impact on the results that they're getting today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I worry that the way that I parented my kids has an impact on the results that they're getting today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Top of the head. I stuffed my emotions. Didn't let my kids know how I was feeling. Didn't teach them emotional intelligence. I stuffed my feelings. Didn't teach my kids emotional intelligence. I stuffed my feelings. I thought it was best for them, but I stuffed my feelings. How are you doing? Were you able to tap through that sequence with me? Did anything come up for you? I know for me, I had this release of realizing they are adults, they are responsible for their own results, and my time with them isn't done. I still get to model for them emotional intelligence. I still get to model for them how to have conversations with them about feelings, to let them know that what they said upset me, or let them know that I'm feeling sad and that's okay, or to let them know that something made me angry and I get to do something about it. And in those discussions that I get to choose to have with my kids, I get to share with them how maybe I didn't do it the way I wanted to before. I get to show up more emotionally intelligent for my kids to model that for them. And then they get to choose what they do with that. That's what came up for me. I can feel the tingling in my legs as I talk about it now, as my body continues to release more of that negative energy that it's holding on to. But there's still a little bit there. So we're going to tap on even though I still phrase, because going through one tapping sequence doesn't usually resolve it all. This is my experience with myself and when I'm doing tapping with one-on-one or with small groups or large groups, is that even though I still phrase can sometimes be even more powerful than the first one. So let's go at it. Even though I still worry that my behaviors as a parent influence my kids and the results they have today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I still worry that my behaviors as a parent influence the results my kids have today, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I still worry that my behaviors as a parent has an influence on the results my kids have today. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I still worry, still worry, still worry I screwed them up. I still worry about my silence. I still worry. I still worry about my silence. Still worry I screwed my kids up. Hmm. As I was going through that tapping sequence, what I kept thinking and then feeling is that I haven't screwed up my kids at all. They're amazing humans. And that fear, that fear of what if how I kept my emotions all stuffed inside influenced the humans they are today? What if the opposite is true? What if by me keeping my emotions to myself, it gave my kids more space to be exactly who they were meant to be all along? What if that's the truth? My kids are both amazing humans who are doing incredible things in this world, building families, building businesses. And both of my kids are really better understanding themselves. I didn't screw them up at all. When I rate myself on that scale, where early on I was probably at a 6 or 7 when we started with that concept of that fear of screwing my kids up, I now feel like I'm at a 2, maybe even a 1. I'm feeling so much more. Oh, now I have a yawn. That's me letting out the last of that energy. But I now feel so much more confident and settled in my role as a parent to my kids. And I hope that you do too. So I'm going to end this with a choice point statement. We've done these a couple of times before, but I think this is the first time on the podcast where we've followed along through several different sequences. So I want to show you a choice point statement. I find it to be a really powerful way to help this new energy that I want in my body to settle in because my body was holding on to that fear, was holding on to that fear that my parenting style had a negative influence on my kids. And I want to let that go. It does not help me show up as the parent that I want to be with them, be for them today. That fear of what if, it's ugly, it's gross, and it stops me from being fully present for my kids because I'm questioning what I'm doing, what I've done, how they've processed that. It doesn't mean that we don't still get to talk about it, but I need to let that negative energy go from my body so that I can be present with them. So we're going to do a choice point statement. So here we go. Even though in the past I worried that I screwed my kids up, I now choose to see that they are confident, capable humans, and I love them unconditionally. And I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though in the past I worried that I screwed my kids up, I now choose to see that they are capable and confident humans, and I get to love them unconditionally. And I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though in the past I worried that I screwed my kids up, I now choose to see that they are capable and confident, and I love them unconditionally. And I deeply and completely love and accept myself. My kids are capable. My kids are confident. I get to love them unconditionally. My kids are capable. My kids are confident. I get to love them unconditionally. My kids are so capable, and I love them unconditionally. Mm. That one felt really good. I hope that it was helpful for you. That is my goal here is to create tapping sequences that you can follow along with to help release some of the negative energy that your body's holding on to too. And if you're not quite sure where to go next, if you need more personalized tapping, I'd love to help you out with that. I'll put the booking link in the show notes. So feel free to stop by my website, say hi, book a session if that feels right too. I'd love to help you release that old energy that's holding you back from being as fully present as you really can be with your kids. So that's it for today, and we will tap soon.